Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. I always assumed the only blue pills in my life would be my son's toy bricks scattered across the living room floor at 3 in the morning. I was wrong about that. My name is David Carter, and I am 39 years old with the kind of job that makes people nod politely and change the subject at parties. I fix computers for a living. Not the glamorous kind, where I break into government databases or build artificial intelligence that threatens humanity. I am the person who shows up when someone from accounting cannot remember a password for the 15th time in a month, or when the printer decides to jam every single sheet of paper like it is personally offended by the concept of productivity. But here's the thing about being the invisible information technology person. You see everything. People forget you are there when you're crawling under their desk to plug in a cable. They have conversations right over your head like you are a piece of furniture. They leave their screens unlocked, their phones face up, their secrets scattered like confetti after a particularly messy divorce. Which brings me to my wife, Alana. Alana Carter Johnson, 37 years old, marketing executive at Pinnacle Solutions. The kind of woman who wears power suits that cost more than my monthly salary and carries herself like she is auditioning for the role of the chief executive officer's spouse in some corporate drama. She is beautiful in that sharp, calculated way that takes 2 hours and 3 moisturizers to achieve every morning. We have been married for 12 years, together for 14, and for the past 6 months, something had been off. Not off in the way married couples sometimes drift or settle into comfortable silence. Off in the way that makes you wonder if the person sleeping next to you is planning your replacement. It started with small things. Alana working late more often, taking calls in the other room, buying new lingerie that I never saw, her phone face down on the nightstand and locked with the kind of secrecy reserved for state secrets rather than grocery lists and the neighbor's cat. "You are being paranoid, David," she would say whenever I brought it up. "I'm up for promotion. You know how important this is for our future." Our future, right, because nothing says our future like hiding your phone screen when your husband walks into the room. The breaking point came on a Tuesday in March. I was doing laundry. Apparently being the sole breadwinner does not exempt you from domestic duties when your spouse is building a career. When I found something in the pocket of Alana's blazer, a small, discreet bottle of blue pills. I am not a doctor, but I am fairly certain my wife does not have dysfunction. And I was absolutely certain she did not get those pills for me, considering our love life had been about as active as a cemetery at midnight for months. I stood in the laundry room holding that little bottle like it was a smoking gun, which, in retrospect, my first thought was surprisingly calm. Well, that explains the new lingerie. My second thought was less calm and involved language that would have earned me a bar of soap from my mother. But here is where being an information technology guy comes in handy. We are problem solvers by nature. When something breaks, we fix it. When something does not work the way it should, we find a workaround. And when your wife is clearly having an affair with someone who needs pharmaceutical assistance, you get creative. I pocketed the bottle and drove to a drugstore, bought a bottle of sleeping pills, the kind that look remarkably similar to those little blue performance enhancers if you're not paying close attention. Same size, same general color, same innocent appearance. Back home, I performed what I call Operation Switcheroo. Every little blue pill got replaced with a little blue sleeping pill. Same bottle, same quantity, completely different effect. "David," Alana called from upstairs. "Have you seen my gray blazer? The one with the silver buttons." In the laundry room, I called back, slipping the real blue pills into my toolbox. "Just finished washing it." She appeared in the doorway looking rushed and slightly frazzled. Her hair was perfect, her makeup flawless, but there was something in her eyes that looked almost guilty. "Thanks," she said, grabbing the blazer and checking the pockets quickly. Her fingers found the bottle, and I watched her face relax a fraction. "I'm going to be late tonight. Big presentation tomorrow, and Maurice and I need to go over the numbers." Maurice. There it was, the name that had been popping up with increasing frequency. Maurice Bennett, colleague, project partner, and apparent pharmaceutical beneficiary. "Maurice is the one with the Range Rover, right?" I asked, pretending to fold a towel. "That is him. A very sharp guy. The company is lucky to have him. I will bet they are. Do not work too hard," I said, kissing her cheek. She smelled like expensive perfume and guilt. I will probably be asleep when you get home. Probably for the best. You know how cranky you get when your sleep schedule gets disrupted. If only she knew how disrupted things were about to get. That evening, I sat in my home office pretending to work on a client's computer while actually researching Maurice Bennett. Social media is a beautiful thing when you know how to dig. Maurice was 42, divorced, drove that Range Rover like it was an extension of his masculinity, and, based on his photographs, had the kind of confidence that comes from never having been punched in the face. He was also, according to his profile, Alana's direct supervisor. My phone buzzed with a text from my wife. Working late. Do not wait up. Love you. Love you too, sweetheart. Sweet dreams. The beautiful thing about being married to someone for 12 years is that you learn their patterns. Alana thought she was being subtle, but subtlety was never her strength. So when she announced a business retreat the following weekend, just her and Maurice reviewing quarterly projections at an upscale hotel an hour outside the city, I was not surprised. It is the Grandview Resort, she said, not quite meeting my eyes as she packed her overnight bag. You know, the one with the spa and golf course. A very professional atmosphere. Sounds romantic, I said. I mean professional. Very professional. She shot me a look. Do not be ridiculous, David. This is work. Of course it is. That is why you are packing the black lingerie set. Her hand froze over the suitcase. It is comfortable for sleeping. Exactly, I said. Because nothing says quarterly projections like a lace set. I helped her load the bag into her car, playing the part of the supportive husband. Drive safe, I said. Giving her a hug, she returned with the enthusiasm of someone greeting a distant relative at a funeral. I will call you tonight, she promised. Looking forward to it, I said. As soon as her taillights disappeared, I was in my car following at a safe distance. The beauty of modern technology is that everyone thinks they are tech-savvy until they meet someone who actually is. Alana's phone was still on our family plan, which meant I had access to location services she had forgotten were enabled. The Grandview Resort was exactly the kind of place you take someone you're trying to impress. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, a lobby that whispered expense account in reverent tones. I parked across the street and watched Alana and Maurice check in together, laughing at something on his phone. He was tall, silver at the temples, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my car payment. His hand pressed lightly against the small of Alana's back as they walked to the elevator, and she gazed up at him like he had just invented fire. I gave them an hour to get settled, then called the hotel. Grandview Resort, this is Madison. How can I help you? Hi. I'm trying to reach my wife, Alana Carter. She is there for a business conference, but I think she left her medication at home. I want to check if she needs me to drive it over. Let me check her guest registry. I see an Alana Carter checked in. Would you like me to connect you to her room? Actually, could you give me the room number? I would rather surprise her. I'm sorry, sir. We cannot give out room numbers for security reasons. Of course. Could you at least tell me if she is sharing the room with her colleague, Maurice Bennett, so I know if I should bring medication for both? A long pause. Sir, our records show Mr. Bennett and Mrs. Carter are registered in the same suite. Thank you, Madison. You have been very helpful. I hung up and settled in a wait. The switch pills would take about 30 to 45 minutes to kick in, depending on Morris's metabolism and how much he drank at dinner. I had done my research. The sleeping pills I had substituted were strong enough to floor a linebacker, but harmless enough that he would wake with a headache and some very awkward questions. At 10:47 in the evening, my patience was rewarded. An ambulance pulled up to the hotel's front entrance, lights flashing, sirens off. Paramedics rushed inside with a gurney. 20 minutes later, they emerged with Maurice, conscious but groggy, and a very panicked Alana trailing behind. My phone rang. David. Alana's voice was high and shaky. Something terrible happened. What is wrong? Are you okay? It is Maurice. He collapsed during dinner. We were going over the presentation, and he fell over. They are taking him to the hospital. Oh my goodness. Is he going to be okay? I do not know. The paramedic said it might be some kind of reaction to medication, but David, this looks really bad. I mean, we were in his room going over numbers and what? Nothing. Never mind. I'm going to follow the ambulance to the hospital. Do you want to come up there? No. The response was so quick and sharp she immediately tried to soften it. I mean, no, there's no point. I will probably be home late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Okay. Keep me posted. I will. I love you. Love you too, I said. I hung up and allowed myself a small smile. Round one to the information technology guy. But I knew this was just the beginning. The next morning, I got a call from my buddy Eddie Coleman, a high school physical education teacher with a talent for collecting gossip. You are not going to believe what I heard at the coffee shop, he said. Try me. Your wife's boss collapsed at some fancy hotel last night. Food poisoning or something. But here's the weird part. Apparently, he was not alone. I feigned surprise. Really? Was a work thing? That is what they are saying. But my cousin who works at the emergency room said they brought him in asking about drug interactions, like maybe he mixed something he should not have. The woman who came with him was acting nervous and guilty, like she knew something. Marketing executive. Designer clothes. Wedding ring. Oh, I said. That is weird. Gets weirder. Eddie continued. Everybody is talking. By Monday morning, the story of Morris's medical emergency had spread through Pinnacle Solutions like a computer virus. I know because I have friends in their information technology department. When you're the person who fixes everyone's computers, you build a network of people who owe you favors. And when your wife is having an affair with her boss, those favors become very valuable. David, you need to hear this, said Daniel Price, calling me from his desk at Pinnacle. Daniel looked like he had never left his basement, but he had the office grapevine mapped like a subway system. What is up? Your wife and Maurice are the talk of the office. Everyone is saying they were together at that hotel when he collapsed. Together. People love to gossip, I said. I'm sure it is nothing. Maybe. But here's the thing. Security footage from the hotel lobby shows them checking in together, laughing, touching each other. The hotel bar cameras have them sharing drinks and getting cozy before they went upstairs. I felt a cold satisfaction. How do you know about the security footage? Morris's wife hired a private investigator. Gloria is not foolish. She has been suspicious for months. The private investigator got copies. I had almost forgotten about Morris's wife. This was getting interesting. Daniel, I need a favor. Name it. If you happen to see emails or messages that mention Alana or Maurice, accidentally forward them to me. A pause. Are you sure you want to go down this road? I'm already on this road, I said. I just need to know where it leads. Within an hour, my inbox was full of forwarded messages, office gossip, speculation, and one particularly damning chain between Alana and her friend Jenna Randall in Human Resources. The messages were a goldmine. Alana and Jenna had been planning the hotel retreat for weeks, with Jenna providing cover stories and schedule adjustments. There were conversations about birth control, about Morris's performance issues, and about how to handle his wife if she grew suspicious. The most interesting email was the most recent, from alana.carter@pinnaclesolutions.com to jenna.randall@pinnaclesolutions.com. Subject: Damage control. Jenna, we need to talk as soon as possible. Maurice thinks someone might have tampered with his medication. He is paranoid. But what if he is right? What if David suspects something? We need to figure out how to handle this before it gets out of hand. Can you meet me for lunch? I forwarded the chain to a new address I had created, sleepingdixley@protonmail.com. Then I started planning phase 2. That evening, Alana came home acting like nothing had happened. She kissed me on the cheek, asked about my day, and made dinner like she had not spent the weekend at a resort with another man. How is Maurice feeling? I asked casually, chopping vegetables. She stiffened slightly. Better. The doctors think it was just a reaction to some medication. Nothing serious. That is good. Must have been scary for you, being there. Terrifying. One minute we are going over reports. The next he is unconscious on the floor. On the floor? I thought you said he collapsed at dinner. A pause. He did. I meant the restaurant floor. Right, I said. The restaurant is room. She turned, expression carefully neutral. What is that supposed to mean? Nothing, I said. Just glad you were both okay. But I could see the wheels turning. She was wondering how much I knew, how much I suspected, how much trouble she was in. The answer, more than she thought. Over the next few days, I implemented Operation Gaslight. Nothing dramatic or traceable, just small things designed to make Alana and Maurice paranoid. I mailed Morris's wife a sympathy card at her office, signed from the Carter family. Hope Maurice feels better soon. The return address, if pursued, would lead in a direction unflattering to Alana. I created a fake social media account and followed both Alana and Maurice, liking their posts at strategic times to make it look like someone was watching. I left a bottle of sleeping pills on Alana's desk at home in plain sight with a note. Thought you might need these for insomnia. A friend. And I started appearing at places I knew they visited. The coffee shop near Pinnacle Solutions, the restaurant where they had business lunches, the parking garage where Maurice kept his Range Rover. I never approached them, never spoke. I just made sure they saw me. It did not take long for paranoia to set in. David, have you been following me? Alana asked one evening, cornering me in the kitchen. Following you? What do you mean? Jenna said she saw you at the coffee shop when I was meeting Maurice. And Maurice swears he saw you in the parking garage at work. I go to that coffee shop all the time. It is a free country, and I had a service call next door to your office. Is there a problem? She studied my face for tells. 12 years of marriage had taught me how to mask my thoughts from her, as well as she masked hers from me. No, she said finally. No problem. It just felt like a strange coincidence. Life is full of strange coincidences, I said. Like your boss collapsing after taking medication that was not supposed to cause that kind of reaction. Her face went pale. What do you mean? Nothing, I said lightly. But we both knew I meant everything. The final straw came when I intercepted a text message between Alana and Jenna. I had monitoring software on our home router, completely legal since it was my network, that let me see traffic. Jenna, Morris's wife, hired a private investigator. She's asking questions. Alana, how much does she know? Jenna, enough to be dangerous. We need to be careful. Alana, what if David is behind this? What if he is the one who? Jenna, who what? Alana, never mind. Meet me tomorrow. That night, I lay in bed beside my wife, listening to her breathe and planning my next move. She was scared, paranoid, and starting to make mistakes. Maurice was probably worse, jumping at shadows and wondering if someone had tried to poison him. Neither of them had any idea how bad it was about to get. The next morning, I made a decision that would change everything. I was done with subtlety. It was time to go nuclear. I called in sick to work and spent the morning preparing. First, I drove to Morris's neighborhood and parked across from his house. Gloria Bennett was exactly what I expected. Mid-40s, well-dressed, a woman who had built her life around her husband's career and was now watching it crumble. I rang the doorbell. Mrs. Bennett, my name is David Carter. I think we need to talk. She looked me over, jeans, polo shirt, nervous smile, a carefully rehearsed mask of concern. I am sorry. Do I know you? My wife works with your husband, Alana Carter. I believe they were together when Maurice had his medical emergency. Her expression hardened. I see. What exactly do you want to talk about, Mr. Carter? I think our spouses are having an affair, I said, and I think someone needs to do something before this gets worse. She stared for a long moment, then stepped aside to let me in. The Bennett's living room was a shrine to a marriage under strain. Wedding photos, family vacations, anniversaries, milestones of a relationship slowly poisoned by Morris's wandering eye and Alana's ambition. How long have you known? She asked, pouring coffee with shaking hands. A few months, I said. You longer. Maurice has had affairs before, but this one feels different. More serious. She handed me a cup and sat across from me. The private investigator I hired has photographs, hotel receipts, email records, enough to destroy him in a divorce. But you have not done anything yet, I said. I was waiting for the right moment. Maurice is up for a promotion that would set us up for a long time. I wanted to see if he would end it on his own once he got what he wanted. I leaned forward. Gloria, I do not think they're planning to end it. I think they are planning to escalate it. I showed her the emails I had intercepted, the text messages, all the evidence I had collected. Her face grew harder with each new piece. They are not just having an affair, I continued. They are conspiring to hide it, manipulating colleagues, covering their tracks. And now they are paranoid, which means they're going to take bigger risks. What do you suggest we do? She asked. I suggest we give them something to really be paranoid about, I said. Over the next hour, Gloria and I planned what I now think of as the Scorched Earth campaign. She had resources, money, connections, and a private investigator with flexible ethics. I had technical skills, access to their communications, and a detailed understanding of how to use technology to make people uncomfortable. Our first target was the office holiday party scheduled for Friday evening at Pinnacle Solutions headquarters in Cedar Heights, Ohio. Alana had been looking forward to it for weeks, seeing it as an opportunity to show off her proximity to power while pretending it was all very businesslike. It is important for networking, she had told me. Maurice and I will probably spend most of the evening discussing the Henderson account with potential clients. I had been planning to skip the party, claiming a work emergency, but Gloria convinced me to attend. You need to be there, she said. When this happens, you need to look surprised. Innocent. The party was held in the main conference center, decorated with silver and gold, with a bar setup that probably cost more than most people's rent. Alana looked stunning in a new black cocktail dress, and Maurice looked like he had stepped out of a magazine. They tried to be subtle, but subtlety eluded both of them. The lingering touches, the private conversations in corners, the way they watched each other when they thought no one was paying attention. It was all there, plain as day. At exactly 9:30 in the evening, Gloria's private investigator, a compact, efficient woman named Sarah Bryant, walked into the party with a briefcase and a look of purpose. "Excuse me," she said, approaching Maurice and Alana at the bar. "Maurice Bennett. Alana Carter. I am Sarah Bryant, and I have some documents you need to see." The room quieted. Conversations trailed off. The bartender froze mid-shake. Sarah opened her briefcase and produced a stack of photographs, surveillance stills, credit card receipts, email printouts. "Mr. Bennett, your wife has filed for divorce. These are copies of the evidence that will be presented in court. Mrs. Carter, I believe your husband might be interested in seeing these as well." She handed me a manila envelope. I opened it with shaking hands, performance, not nerves, and pulled out photographs of Alana and Maurice entering the hotel together, kissing in the elevator, leaving the same room the next morning. "Oh my goodness," I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Alana, what is this?" The room erupted. People crowded closer to see the images. Voices rose with shock and excitement. Phones came out to record the drama. Alana's face drained of color. Maurice looked vaguely ill. "David, I can explain," Alana began. I cut her off. "Explain what? Explain how you lied to me for months? Explain how you have been sleeping with your boss, while I was at home thinking we were working through a rough patch." "It is not what it looks like," she said. "It looks," I replied, "like my wife is a cheating liar who's been making a fool out of me in front of everyone we know." Maurice tried to step in. "David, let us discuss this rationally." "Rationally?" I turned on him. "Let us rationally discuss how you collapsed in a hotel room with my wife after taking medication someone had tampered with." The room went dead silent. Morris's face shifted from pale to green. "That is right," I said. "I know about the blue pill. I know about the sleeping pills. I know all of it." Maurice staggered backward, knocking into a table and sending drinks crashing to the floor. "You tried to poison me," he said. "I tried to give you a good night's sleep," I replied. "Seemed like you needed it more than you needed other things." The crowd was rapt. Phones recorded. People whispered. In the corner, Jenna Randall looked like she wanted to disappear into the carpet. "David, please," Alana said, grabbing my arm. "Can we talk about this privately?" "Privately?" I asked. "Like you have been privately sleeping with your boss for 6 months? We are past privacy, do you not think?" Security arrived, alerted by the noise, but the damage was done. By the time they escorted us out, half the room had posted videos to social media, and the other half was on the phone spreading the news. Morris's career at Pinnacle Solutions was over. Alana's reputation was in tatters, and I was just getting started. In the parking lot, as we walked to our cars, Maurice made the mistake of confronting me. "You could have killed me with those pills," he said, grabbing my shoulder. "But I did not," I answered. "I gave you a nap. Though I admit, watching the paramedics wheel you out was satisfying." He swung at me. "Big mistake. I had been taking self-defense classes for 2 months, ever since I started planning my revenge. Maurice had the fancy car and the expensive suit, but I had rage and preparation. I ducked his punch, grabbed his wrist, and used his momentum to send him sprawling across the hood of his Range Rover. The impact set off the alarm, filling the lot with flashing lights and noise. "Stay down," I told him, "and stay away from my wife." "Your wife came to me," he gasped. "She's the one who—" I grabbed his tie and pulled him close. "My wife is a lot of things, Maurice. but she is still my wife. And you are nothing. You are a middle-aged man with performance issues who preys on married women because you cannot handle being alone. Here is what is going to happen. You're going to leave Pinnacle Solutions. You're going to leave Cedar Heights. And you're going to disappear from our lives. If I see you again, if I even hear your name in connection with Alana, I will make tonight look like a warm-up. I let go. He scrambled to his feet, straightened his jacket, and looked around at the crowd. This is not over, he said. Yes, it is, I replied. You just do not know it yet. He drove off, alarms still blaring, dignity in tatters. Alana stood by her car, crying and fumbling with her phone, probably calling Jenna, looking for advice on how to salvage the disaster. She would need more than advice. The aftermath was everything I hoped for. By Saturday morning, videos of the confrontation were trending locally. By Sunday, regional news outlets were circling. Local executives' affair exposed at company party is not the kind of headline that flatters a resume. Alana spent the weekend in damage control mode, calling friends, family, colleagues, trying to spin the story. I listened from my home office where I monitored our phone and internet traffic with the dedication of a mission controller. It is not what it looks like, she kept saying. David is having some kind of breakdown. He has been following me, making crazy accusations. But the evidence was too strong and the public humiliation too complete. By Monday morning, Pinnacle Solutions had placed both Alana and Maurice on administrative leave, pending an investigation. Maurice's wife had filed for divorce and was seeking half of everything plus alimony. Alana's friends, those same friends who had helped her cover up the affair, were suddenly too busy to return calls. I, meanwhile, played the role of wounded husband with award-worthy dedication. I showed up to work with dark circles under my eyes, told anyone who would listen how devastated I was, and accepted sympathy casseroles from neighbors with the grace of a man blindsided by betrayal. I just do not understand how I missed the signs, I told Eddie over beers. I knew she was working late, but I trusted her. You had a good marriage, he said. She's the one who wrecked it. Moving forward was exactly what I had in mind. But first, I had unfinished business. On Wednesday evening, while Alana was out having dinner with her sister, one of the few family members still speaking to her, I implemented the final phase. I had spent weeks preparing, setting up accounts, transferring funds, and consulting lawyers about the legal implications. Everything I was about to do was above board, if not exactly sporting. First, I emptied our joint savings account. Every penny we had saved over 12 years moved to a new account in my name alone. Legally, I had every right. The account was joint. I was simply exercising access to marital assets pending divorce. Next, I changed the locks on our house. Again, completely legal since the house was in my name only, a decision we had made years ago for tax purposes that now paid dividends I had never anticipated. Then I packed all of Alana's belongings into boxes and stacked them neatly in the garage. Her clothes, jewelry, books, and her collection of motivational business guides. Everything carefully organized and labeled like a very personal moving company had done the work. Finally, I printed copies of all the evidence I had collected. Emails, text messages, photographs, hotel receipts, credit card statements. A complete record of her affair with Maurice, documented with the thoroughness of a federal investigation. I left the stack on the kitchen table with a note. Alana, I have gathered materials you will need for the divorce proceedings. As you can see, I have been aware of your relationship with Maurice for quite some time. I have also taken steps to protect my financial interests. Your belongings are in the garage. The locks have been changed. You can collect your things at your convenience, but please call first. I have filed for divorce on grounds of adultery. My lawyer will be in touch. I hope Maurice is worth it. David. Postscript. You might want to find a new place to stay. I hear Maurice is looking for a roommate. When Alana came home and found herself locked out of her house, the reaction was everything I had hoped for. She rang the doorbell repeatedly, pounded on the door, and shouted my name. When that did not work, she called me, but I had blocked her number hours earlier. I watched the performance from my bedroom window, feeling like a director watching a finale. She tried the back door, the garage, even the basement entrance we never used. She called a locksmith, but when he arrived and she could not prove she lived there, her driver's license still showed her maiden name and an old address. He refused to help her break in. Finally, she called the police. 2 officers showed up, just as I was getting ready for bed. I answered the door in pajamas, looking confused and a little hurt. Officers, what seems to be the problem? Sir, we have a woman here who claims she lives at this address, but she does not have keys and says you changed the locks. Is this your residence? Yes. I am David Carter, and this is my house. I show them my driver's license and the deed. The woman is my wife. We are getting divorced. She says you locked her out illegally. I changed the locks on my own house, which is my right as sole owner. Her belongings are packed and waiting in the garage. She is welcome to collect them, but she does not live here anymore. The officers looked at each other, then at Alana, who stood on the lawn like she had been struck by lightning. Ma'am, one said, if the house is in his name and you are getting divorced, he can change the locks. You will need to work out living arrangements through your lawyers. But I do not have anywhere to go, she protested. That is a civil matter, ma'am, the officer said. After they left, Alana remained in the driveway for an hour, calling friends and family, trying to find a place to stay. I heard fragments of conversations, completely lost his mind, changed all the locks, took the money, just for one night. Eventually, a car pulled up and Jenna Randall got out. They loaded Alana's immediate necessities into Jenna's compact sedan and drove away, leaving the rest of her belongings boxed in my garage like artifacts from a failed civilization. I slept better that night than I had in months. The next morning brought fresh entertainment. Maurice, apparently feeling guilty or heroic, tried to play rescuer. He showed up around 8 in the morning in his Range Rover, wearing a suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. I was ready. David, he called as he got out. We need to talk. I stepped onto the porch with my coffee. Maurice, what a surprise. I thought you had left town by now. Look, I know you are angry, but taking it out on Alana will not solve anything. She needs a place to stay. She had a place, I said. She chose to give it up when she chose to sleep with you. This is ridiculous. You cannot throw your wife out on the street. I cannot. I gestured to the house. This is my house. My name is on the deed. I pay the mortgage. Alana forfeited her right to live here when she chose her extracurricular activities. If you are concerned about her welfare, offer her your couch. My wife threw me out, he muttered, desperation leaking through. I'm staying in a hotel. That sounds like a you problem, I said. He took a step closer, anger rising. You think you have won some kind of game? I do not think I have won anything, I said. I think I finally stopped losing. This is over. It is not, he said. Actually, I replied, it is. You made a fundamental error, Maurice. You thought I was a boring information technology guy who would never fight back. You thought you could steal my wife and I would accept it. But boring information technology, people solve problems. And you, Maurice, were a problem. I took a sip of coffee and smiled. Here is how this will work. You're going to get in your overpriced sport utility vehicle, drive away, and never contact me or my wife again. If you do, I will make the holiday party look like a rehearsal. He stared at me, calculating whether he could win a fight. I hoped he would try, but he was not completely foolish. He got back in his car and drove off without another word. That afternoon, my lawyer called. David, I heard from Alana's attorney. She is willing to discuss a settlement. What kind? She wants half the house, half the savings and alimony. In exchange, she will agree to a no-fault divorce. I laughed. Counteroffer. She gets nothing. I have documented evidence of adultery, which voids any claimed alimony under state law. The house is in my name only. As for the savings, let us say I protected my interests. Are you sure you want to play hardball? My lawyer asked. Divorces can get ugly. They can, I agreed. But I have photographs, emails, hotel receipts, and about 50 witnesses who saw her humiliated at the company party. How ugly do you think she wants this to get? 3 days later, Alana signed the divorce papers. No contest, no alimony, no claim to the house or savings. She got her personal belongings, her car, and whatever dignity she could salvage. Maurice left town the following week. Word was he had taken a job in another state, hoping to outrun his reputation. His wife got the house, the investments, and a very generous alimony settlement. Jenna Randall was fired from Pinnacle Solutions for her role in helping cover up the affair. Apparently, using company resources to facilitate a friend's extramarital relationship is frowned upon. I kept my job, kept my house, kept my savings, and gained something I had not had in months: peace of mind. 6 months later, I ran into Alana at a coffee shop downtown. She was working as a receptionist at a small marketing firm, living in a studio apartment, driving a 10-year-old compact car. She looked older, tired, like someone who had learned hard lessons about the consequences of bad choices. "David," she said, approaching my table hesitantly. "How are you?" "I am well," I said. "How are you settling in?" "It has been an adjustment." "Look, I know you probably do not want to hear this, but I'm sorry. I made terrible decisions. I hurt you badly. You did not deserve that." I studied her face for signs of manipulation, but all I saw was regret. "You are right," I said. "I did not deserve it. But maybe we both learned something." "What did you learn?" she asked. "I learned that I am stronger than I thought. I learned I do not have to accept being treated badly to avoid conflict. And I learned that when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I learned that some mistakes cannot be undone, that some choices have consequences you cannot escape." "That is a hard lesson," I said. "The hardest," she whispered. We talked a few more minutes, politely, like acquaintances. When she left, I felt something unexpected. Sympathy, not enough to take her back, not enough to forgive what she had done, but enough to hope she would make better choices going forward. As for Maurice, I never saw him again. 6 months later, I got a wedding invitation from Gloria Bennett, now Gloria Bryant, having married Sarah Bryant, the private investigator who helped expose the affair. The invitation included a handwritten note. "David, thank you for having the courage to do what needed to be done. Some sleeping dogs deserve to be awakened. Gloria." I studied her face for signs of manipulation, but all I saw was regret. "You are right," I said. "I did not deserve it. But maybe we both learned something." "What did you learn?" she asked. "I learned that I am stronger than I thought. I learned I do not have to accept being treated badly to avoid conflict. And I learned that when someone shows you who they really are, you should believe them." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "I learned that some mistakes cannot be undone, that some choices have consequences you cannot escape." "That is a hard lesson," I said. "The hardest," she whispered. We talked a few more minutes, politely, like acquaintances. When she left, I felt something unexpected. Sympathy, not enough to take her back, not enough to forgive what she had done, but enough to hope she would make better choices going forward. As for Maurice, I never saw him again. 6 months later, I got a wedding invitation from Gloria Bennett, now Gloria Bryant, having married Sarah Bryant, the private investigator who helped expose the affair. The invitation included a handwritten note. "David, thank you for having the courage to do what needed to be done. Some sleeping dogs deserve to be awakened. Gloria." If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.